bill, which is essentially excise duty. And essentially excise duty, which existed before 2017 under the central government. And it was only for the sake of the compensation cess which was required at the time of introducing GST that Centre gave up its powers to levy excise duty on tobacco and tobacco-related products, that right was given away to the GST so that they will be in a position to collect the compensation cess over those items which were taxed at 28%. So that compensation cess was collected between 2017 till 2022, which is what I said at the time when I opened the debate in my opening remarks. Now, therefore, the compensation cess which was collected till 2022 went in the hands of the states. So it was given off to the states. And by law at that time when GST was introduced, compensation cess was to be collected for 5 full years, and it came to an end in 2022. But after 2022, it is still being collected because after proper legal consultation, the GST Council took a call that during the COVID years, we couldn't collect the revenue required and couldn't collect particularly the compensation cess which is levied on items which were at 28% rate. We couldn't compensate the states, which was a promise given under the GST. So, taking legal opinion, it was extended to such a period. Of course, the outer limit was fixed for March 2026, but it was extended to such a period till when it had to be collected for returning the loan which was taken for paying the states. So essentially here, what was there before 2017, what was conceded by the Centre for the State of Centre for the GST Council to collect the compensation cess, at the end of compensation cess is being naturally reverted to the centre. This is not a new law. This is not an additional tax. This is not something which the centre is taking away. There was quite a lot of observation made by several honourable members that it is a cess. This is not a cess. This is excise duty. It existed before GST. It's come back to the centre because centre gave it away at that time for collecting compensation cess. Now it's reverting back to the centre, and I will get into the details when I answer some particular members' questions. It is coming back to the centre to be collected as excise duty, which will go to the divisible pool. It is going to be redistributed again at the 41%, which has to go to the states. So this is not a cess. When a cess comes, I'll stand up to say that is cess. This is not. And I found quite a few honourable members talking about, oh, this is a cess, centre is bringing it, it's going to take the revenue. No, please. I will stand up when I have a cess to talk about. But this is not the one. Sir, I just want to highlight the basic excise duty. Even after the introduction of GST, because that head of account was being maintained, was brought to the minimum most level, and then now it's going back. Even during GST, when that minimum most level of excise was being collected, we collected only a token amount, which was 5 rupees for 1,000 sticks. And for most cigarette categories, it was 10 rupees per 1,000 sticks. size variant are taken as consideration. In practical term, it meant that the excise component per stick was a fraction of 1 paisa. So we kept that nominal collection only all the while, even as the GST was collecting on cigarettes as compensation cess. By comparison, sir, pre-GST excise duty rates ranged from 1,585 to 2,850 rupees per 100 sticks for non-filter cigarettes and 1,585 to 4,170 per 100 sticks if they were filtered. So the point that I'm highlighting here is, during GST, it was just nominally kept, the account was kept alive, but collection was 5 rupees on 1,000 sticks, whereas prior to introduction of GST, it was 1,585 to 2,850 per 100 sticks, not even 1,000. So, pre-GST rates were far higher and excise duty, and post-GST, because they were collecting as compensation cess, here it was nominally kept at 100 sticks for 1,500. But even after the GST had come in, compensation cess rates remained unchanged from July 2017 to 2024. So I want to highlight the fact that even when compensation cess was introduced on these items, the rate remained the same from 2017 till 2024. So normally, World Health Organization, when it gives some reports, it comments on situations prevailing in different countries. According to WHO, sir, there is a global tobacco control report which the WHO brings out. India did not revise specific cess rates even as the average retail prices of cigarettes rose at less than half the pace of the nominal income growth, was an observation made by the World Health Organization. And empirical data reinforce this fact. So the World Health Organization and the World Bank jointly track affordability index of tobacco products. Is it affordable, or in order to deter people from using cigarettes, have we kept it higher, is an indicator which the World Health Organization monitors. And for India, their comment has been, affordability has either stagnated or increased in the past decade. When affordability increases, it means the price is remaining low. So, affordability has either stagnated or increased in the past decade, meaning cigarettes have not become more expensive related to the consumer's purchasing power. I'm stating what has happened since after the center gave away for the sake of compensation cess to the GST Council, until 24, no rate change has happened. Globally, more than 80 countries, sir, revise tobacco taxes annually, many using inflation indexing or multi-year excise schedules. I'll just name them: Australia, New Zealand, where it is, Australia is at about 12.5 annually. Automatically, based on CPI, it changes. New Zealand, 10%, Philippines, Turkey, South Africa have also constantly linked it with inflation. EU member states do it, maintain a minimum excise burden of 60% of weighted average price. Some may exceed and reach to 70, 75 also. So even in India, prior to GST rates, annually, rates on tobacco had been increased. So it's primarily health-related concern with which it had to be a deterrent. The price or the tax had to be a deterrent so that people don't get into that habit. But after the sunset of compensation cess, as I said, we are bringing back the excise duty which existed prior to GST. Now, certainly we don't want cigarettes to become affordable. So this is the sum and substance of this particular excise duty. India's total tax incidence on cigarettes is approximately 53%. 53% of the retail price, which is substantially lower than the World Health Organization, which is, I've just mentioned all that earlier. And the World Health Organization benchmark is at 75%. I've already mentioned that some states, some countries do charge more. United Kingdom, Australia are well over 80 to 85%. So we do keep that benchmark which the WHO has highlighted, and the concerns of honorable MPs. Some have said you're going to impose this tax, as a result of which livelihoods are going to be affected because cigarettes or BDs will become more expensive, and those poor people who are rolling BDs will be out of the job. I want to highlight some facts here, sir. I'll come to specifics and speak about specific concerns of members. I'll now go to addressing some of the concerns which honorable members have raised. So first of all, farmers. Tobacco growing farmers will have to be weaned away from growing tobacco into doing other alternative crops. There has been efforts earlier. Efforts continue under Prime Minister Modi's government. Farmers are constantly being told how unhealthy it is to cultivate tobacco, and I will highlight that specifically what efforts are being taken. So government schemes under Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare, such as crop diversification program under the Rashtriya Krishi Vikas Yojana, has 10 major tobacco growing states being covered since 2015-16. I'm not going earlier. There were schemes even earlier. I'm not denying efforts have been there for some time now, decades now. Farmers are encouraged to shift to alternative crops. Which are those 10 states? Andhra Pradesh, Bihar, Gujarat, Karnataka, Maharashtra, Odisha, Tamil Nadu, Telangana, Uttar Pradesh and West Bengal. What's the progress of these crop diversification efforts? Over 1.12 lakh acres, that is about 45,325 hectares of land, shifted from tobacco to other crops between 2018 to 2021-22. What are the alternatives, sir? If it is partly irrigated area, they go for sugarcane, groundnut, oil palm, cotton, chili, maize, onion, pulses, and turmeric. In specific states, I'd like to highlight, Telangana has focused on weaning away the tobacco growers to grow Bengal gram and chilies. Odisha has moved them to vegetables growing and maize. Karnataka has moved from tobacco to soya bean and sugarcane. So there are efforts at crop diversification. So I must thank Dr. Kalanidhi Veeraswamy because he, as a doctor, has actually said how injurious it is to the health of the smokers and they shouldn't really be doing it. I appreciate him for sharing his professional
धन्यवाद तो दो, thank you तो.
experience.
अरे thank you बोलना मना है.
I didn't know he was a smoker. So sir, सब लोग बोल रहे हैं कि उनको भी कह दो कि वो स्मोक ना करें. मुझे पहले से मालूम नहीं था कि वो स्मोक करते हैं, मगर अगर करते हैं जरूर उनका ही जो गुड विशेस और एडवाइस था बाकी सब के लिए वो भी वो अपना पालन करेंगे, ऐसे मेरी उम्मीद है.
आप संसद सदस्य को.
Sir, so this excise, as I said earlier, is not a cess. It's a duty, it goes into divisible pool. Dr. Kalanidhi did speak about it. I want to say this collection will go into the divisible pool and therefore the 41% will be reaching the states. Although there is one or two points on which I have thanked and appreciated his concern, sir. There's one point on which I want to correct Dr. Kalanidhi. Raise devolution to 50%.
इसको तमिल में जवाब दे दो आप एक बार.
तमिल में दूं सर? सर आपके आदेश को पालन करना ही पड़ेगा सर. सर மாநிலங்களுக்கு கொடுக்கக்கூடிய நிதி 50% உயர்த்த வேண்டும் என்று கோரிக்கை வைக்கப்பட்டது. அந்த கோரிக்கை ஃபினான்ஸ் கமிஷனுக்கு வைக்கப்பட வேண்டிய கோரிக்கை எங்க கிட்ட வைக்கக்கூடாது. So first of all I want to say that request which Dr. Kalanidhi said states should get 50% of all the devolvable taxable amount is something which the Finance Commission will have to address, and I'm sure he and his government would have said.
अभी क्या है, संसद के अंदर ये व्यवस्था की है कि कोई भी भाषा बोलने के बाद सिमिल्टेनियसली अनुवाद हो जाता है. इसलिए दिक्कत नहीं. आप पहले क्या है,
वो ऑलरेडी जेनरसली बोल रहे हैं मैं अंग्रेजी समझता हूं इसीलिए यू डोंट हैव टू स्पीक इन तमिल. मगर ये मौका मुझे तमिल में भाषण देने का भी मिलता है इसीलिए आई वांट टू स्पीक. सर आई आल्सो वांट टू से सर, other than what the Finance Commission has said to devolve, actually Prime Minister Modi, because he's been a chief minister, he understands the states and their difficulties. After COVID, had asked us to create a capital fund which can be given to the states as good as a grant, but it is called a loan, 50 years interest-free, and all states have utilized it. I want to say the total amount as things stand, from 2020 till today, 4.24 lakh crores have gone to the states, interest-free 50-year loan. Finance Commission didn't ask us to do that. We have done that. So we'll keep the state's interests in mind, sir, and no state gets lesser than what the Finance Commission has ordered us to give them. That also should be on the record. Again, sir, I can't see him here. I'd like to thank Honorable Member Lavu Sri Krishna Devarailu for recognizing the fact that compensation cess regime is come to an end, and therefore this has to move as excise to the center, and that will get devolved to the states. I actually appreciate him for having clearly laid that out, and it'll only support the states and their finances. So there was also the same question of, are you helping the farmers? Are you actually doing concrete things, one to help the farmers, another to really contain purchase of tobacco and tobacco-related products? So there has been a law since 2003, and that actually prohibits tobacco products from being sold to people who are under 18 years of age in 100-yard circumference of any school or any educational institution. But of course it has to be implemented even more rigorously, because there's a lot of violation and people are complaining about it. I'm sure the health ministry will be talking to states about it, sir. And there are a lot of advertisements. I'm not getting into that detail. So particularly on BD, Sri Kathir Anand has raised a lot of questions. I'll start with the most important question. You're here. Sir, Honorable Member Kathir Anand said you can't impose on BD, makers and so on. First, bluntly and upright, I want to say here, there is no change in the tax incidence on BD. In fact, GST doesn't provide for items, so 28% was where most of these demerit goods were, on which we put a cess, Now 28% itself has gone away from the consideration in GST. So every item had to move from 28. If it is a demerit good, it had to go to 40. At the time when the GST Council discussed it, consciously BD was not taken to 40 because it would have really hurt. Although health consideration warrants it also to be in 40. But from 28, it went to 18. A lot of people questioned us saying, hey, what is this? You've reduced the tax on BD. No, we have not reduced. Yes, there I couldn't have taken it to 40 because it would have taken it to higher than what it was earlier. We have taken it to 80, and now when we are bringing it to the excise regime, it will be taxed similar to what it was earlier and not 1 paisa more. So, बहुत सारे समाजवादी पार्टी के नेतागण भी उसके ऊपर बात किए कि बीडी वर्कर्स के ऊपर आप टैक्स लगा रहे हो, उनको उनका रोजाना रोजगार क्या होगा, उनके रोजगार के ऊपर कोई असर नहीं पड़ेगा क्योंकि रेट वैसे की वैसे ही है, रेट में कुछ बदलाव नहीं है। अब का रिजीम जो है उसमें जैसे मैंने बताया 28% टैक्स था, उसके ऊपर एनसीसीडी लगाता था, हैंडमेड चार्ज था 1 रुपी हर एक 1000 बीडी के ऊपर, और मशीन मेड है तो 2 रुपया 1000 बीडी यूनिट के ऊपर, और उसके ऊपर बेसिक एक्साइज ड्यूटी जो मैंने बताया नॉमिनल 5 पैसा था, 5 पैसा 1000 बीडी के ऊपर, और अगर मशीन मेड हो तो 10 पैसा 1000 बीडियों के ऊपर। ये है अभी जो प्रिवेलेंट स्कीम है। एक्साइज आने के बाद वो ही रेट होगा क्योंकि जीएसटी अभी 18 हो गए, कम हो गए, और हैंडमेड यूनिट के ऊपर जैसे पहले एनसीसीडी था वो ही रेट है, 1 रुपया 1000 यूनिट के ऊपर अगर हाथ से बनाया हुआ, मशीन से बनाया हुआ तो 2 रुपया 1000 यूनिट के ऊपर, और बेसिक एक्साइज ड्यूटी जो कानून अभी ले आ रहे हैं उसमें 10% होगा बीडी के ऊपर। कुल मिलाकर के बीडी के ऊपर रेट जो था पहले वही है, 1 पैसा, मैं रुपया नहीं बोल रही हूं, 1 पैसा का इंक्रीज भी नहीं है। इसीलिए रोजगार चले जाएगा, गरीब बीडी वर्कर नहीं जाएगा जी, कोई परिवर्तन नहीं है, रेट वैसे की वैसे। सर, और खतीरानंद जी ये भी कहा कि कानून ले आ रहे हो मगर रूल के, रेगुलेशन के, नोटिफिकेशन के द्वारा रेट बदलते जाता है। नहीं बदलना, मतलब बदलना असंभव है, पार्लियामेंट को छोड़कर में रेट बाहर से बदलना नामुमकिन की बात है। बिना अप्रूवल ऑफ पार्लियामेंट 1 पैसा भी बदलना मुश्किल है, कर भी नहीं सकते कानून है। सो वो होता नहीं है ऐसे, அப்படியெல்லாம் நடக்காதுங்க। இங்க இந்த பார்லிமெண்ட்ல அனுமதி இல்லாம 1 பைசா கூட இன்க்ரீஸ் பண்ண முடியாது, அது ரூல்ஸ் மூலம், நோட்டிஃபிகேஷன் மூலமோ நடக்காது। सर, अगेन बीडी के विषय में बहुत सारे ऑनरेबल मेंबर्स ने बताए, लेबर वेलफेयर स्कीम्स क्या है, उनके ऊपर कुछ कैंसर का दिक्कत है, उनका वो इलाज के लिए कुछ इंतज़ाम है कि नहीं, ये सब। आई वांट टू हाईलाइट सर, लेबर वेलफेयर स्कीम का इट हैज़ 3 components, namely health, scholarships for their children and housing. Healthcare facilities through 10 hospitals and 279 dispensaries are being offered for BD workers. Reimbursement of expenditure for specialized treatment bhi hota hai, that's also provided. Cancer, tuberculosis, heart diseases, kidney transplantation, for all this money is given, they are not being charged. Either they are given in advance or they are being reimbursed. Financial assistance for education of children of BD workers from class 1 to college or university, ranging from 1,000 rupees to 25,000 rupees per student per annum, depending upon the class in which that student is or the course in which that student is already being provided. Then subsidy of 1.5 lakh rupees per beneficiary for construction of Pakka house is being given under revised integrated housing scheme from 2016. RHS has been now converged with Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana. So beyond this, there is also the public distribution system, Deen Dayal Antyodaya Yojana, PM Swanidhi, Kaushal Vikas Yojana, Suraksha Bima Yojana, Jeevan Jyoti Bima Yojana. All these will take care of the BD workers. I can't see senior member रमाशंकर राजभर जी समाजवादी पार्टी, वो भी बहुत इमोशनली इस विषय के ऊपर बात किए. मैं उम्मीद करती हूं कि उनके प्रश्न के लिए मैं जवाब भी दे रही हूं और देती हूं. So Honorable Member Supriya Sule ji, she had raised this very important question in general about the excise, for which I think in the name of other members I've given an answer. Sir, in passing, but I think she meant it, Honorable Member raised this question about IMF and data issue. I would want to use this opportunity to explain that that debate was very ill-informed. IMF has actually said India's overall healthy economic performance is what the report concentrates on. Literally, most of the report focuses on it. But on the data ranking, I want to say, sir, IMF rates data quality from A till D. A, B, C, and D. They don't have the A plus, A minus, which happens in most universities. And A means data is adequate for surveillance. B means data has some shortcomings but is broadly adequate. C means data shortcomings could somewhat hamper surveillance. That's where we are put. And D, serious shortcomings that hamper surveillance. We are ranked C. The ratings are part of IMF report on Indian economy, which expects India's GDP growth to grow at 6.5% level in 25-26, the current year. Growth it recognizes in private consumption, macroeconomic stability, and also resilience of the Indian financial sector. They recognize it as key drivers of growth. They also recognize the inflation. They say it has been well below the RBI's tolerance band. The tolerance band is 2 to 6%. And they also say it is expected to be at 4.3% overall for this year. So, the point of content was the quality of data on which this C grade was given. What was a C grade for? The C grade is assigned to the data on national accounts, which covers data on GDP, consumption, income levels. And what was the reason behind C rating, sir? That the data is based on an outdated base year, which is 2011 to 2012, which is 2011 to 2012 is our base year till now. But Government of India is now changing that, and from the next year, we will have a data base year as 2022 to 2023, and from 27th February 2026, this will come into execution. So we are living with data being collected based on the base year 2011-2012. It is because of that we are ranked C. Not for anything else which the government, I heard some honorable member, I don't want to take their name. The language used was astonishing, sir. Said, manipulating through GST, data being, collected and misleading data is being provided. None of that. If my base year is old and it is 2011 and 12, and IMF thinks, what is this? Why wouldn't you want to collect it on something very recent? That is why Government of India, after doing intense consultation, has decided from 27th February, we will have the base year come closer to us, which is 22-23. If on that score, IMF says, I rank you C, oh my God, the debate was like, oh, Government of India's data is all bad. IMF has said the whole thing is C grade. Absolutely not. It was for that data base year being owned. It didn't question about the growth figures we've given. On the contrary, they've said you'll be growing at 6.5%. They've actually appreciated our inflation management. So it has to be circumscribed, sir. Also, the wholesale prices used instead of producer prices was also one comment. Mismatched production and expenditure approaches was another observation. So everything belongs to the data collection and keeping it to a base year which is old and outdated. That is which is getting us C grade. But overall, India was rated B on all other fronts, including inflation, government finance, external sector statistics, monetary and financial statistics, and intersectoral consistency. So the median rating that we've got is B. So I would like Supriya ji to be informed about that. Also, not a consolation, but just to put it on a context, many developing countries also have the same medium rating of B, example, China and Brazil. I'm not getting into the others. So I can't find the member here, so I wouldn't want to name him, but I will say, Honorable Member Sashikant Sendil, sir. Compensation cess was designed for 5 years, but it has been continued beyond it. I've explained the answer, but I want honorable members to please go into the facts before they observe something. Honorable members' observation go into the record. Compensation cess is a subject on which we have repeatedly spoken in this House. It was for 5 years. It was for the sake of giving it to the states. After 5 years, it will conclude.
वो तो भारतीय प्रशासनिक सेवा के अधिकारी भी हैं पूर्व.
So, sir, another, and on which I have serious objections. Another observation made by the honorable member was compensation cess being used to pay centre's own debt. Excuse me. Compensation cess was collected with the authority of the GST Council to pay the loan that was taken, to give a back-to-back arrangement for the state governments, for revenues that couldn't be collected during COVID. And on the date when the whole thing is going to get over, the GST Council is authorized, saying you can withdraw. In anticipation, we are coming up with this excise. And that has been recorded in the GST Council. I can't believe a constitutional body where all the finance ministers from all states are sitting, and not until Honorable Member Sashikant Senthil says, they would have allowed me to happily pay my debt, central government's debt, with that compensation cess amount. Are state finance ministers not powered enough to question me on that? And here is an honorable member telling us compensation cess being used to pay centre's own debt. I don't know how to respond, sir.
तमिल में
This is greatly misleading the
तमिल में
House.
बता दो जो वहाँ संदेश चल जाएगा.
Should I, sir?
तमिल में बताओ जो संदेश चल जाएगा.
Thank you very much, sir. மதிப்பிற்குரிய உறுப்பினர் சசிகாந்த் செந்தில் அவர்கள் காம்பன்சேஷன் செஸ் மூலமாக வரும் வருவாயை மத்திய அரசு, அது தமிழ்நாட்டில் ஒன்றிய அரசு, மத்திய அரசு தன்னுடைய கடனை தீர்ப்பதற்காக உபயோகிக்கிறது என்று சொன்னார். பார்லிமெண்ட் லாங்குவேஜில் அது ஒப்புதல் இருக்குமோ இல்லையோ, அப்பட்டமான பொய். அதான் அதுக்கு முன்னாடி நான் சொல்லிட்டேன், நீங்க சொல்றது முன்னாடி அது பார்லிமெண்ட்ல ஒப்புதல் இருக்குமோ இல்லையோ, இல்லைன்னா அதுக்கு மாத்திக்க வேற லாங்குவேஜ் போட்டுக்காங்க. பொய் அது. நான் திருப்பி சொல்றேன் சார், आप चाहिए तो उसको हटा दीजिए, अनपार्लियामेंट्री है तो. ஆனா அது பொய் இல்ல. இப்பேற்பட்ட ஒரு ஆதாரமற்ற ஒரு குற்றச்சாட்டை இந்த பார்லிமெண்ட்ல சொல்றது அவதூறுக்கு சமானம். நீங்க நிக்கங்க வேணாங்கல, நான் திருப்பி சொல்வேன் சார். If it is unparliamentary, you may please remove, sir. You are the honorable speaker. मगर I will say it, क्योंकि ये मुझे लग रहा है जैसे वो आरोप मेरे ऊपर डाल दिया बेबुनियाद, मैं आरोप अभी लगा रहा हूं सर. ये जानबूझ करके बोला गया, ये गलत है. केंद्र सरकार कॉम्पनसेशन सेस को उपयोग करते हुए उनका ऋण क्लियर करता है. इसका मैं मानती हूं जीएसटी काउंसिल का अपमान है. जीएसटी काउंसिल में बैठे हुए वित्त मंत्रीगण को यह जानकारी नहीं होगा अगर मैं वैसे करती हूं. ये तमिलनाडु का एक सांसद बोलने का विषय में मुझे शर्मिंदा होना पड़ रहा है सर. Member of Parliament, Honorable Sashikant Senthil ji should please withdraw that statement. It was wrong. இது உண்மை இல்லை. பரவாயில்லைங்களா உங்களுக்கு? உண்மை இல்லை. நான் பொய்யன்னு சொல்றதை விட உண்மை இல்லைன்னு சொல்லிட்டேன், அசத்தியம். ஆனா அவர் இந்த ஆதாரமற்ற குற்றச்சாட்டை சொன்னதுனால ஆனரபிள் ஸ்பீக்கருக்கு நான் ஒரு விண்ணப்பம் வைக்கிறேன், அதை அவர் வித்ட்ரா பண்ணணும். அவர் சொன்ன அந்த லைனை வித்ட்ரா பண்ணா அவர் இங்க இல்ல, ஆனா डेफिनेटली आई एम श्योर ही इज वाचिंग.
वित्त मंत्री जी एक मिनट. नहीं, अभी टाइम है आपका, बहुत टाइम बहुत है. ये साइमल्टेनियसली जो आपको आ रही आवाज साथ में, जब तमिल में बोली तो आपको सारी लैंग्वेज में आ रही नहीं आ रही? हिंदी इंग्लिश सब में आ रही है ना? वो टेस्ट कर रहे हैं हम, इसलिए मैंने आपसे आग्रह किया था कि आप बोलेंगी तो मैं टेस्ट कर लूं कि सबको आवाज. ये भी भारत की संसद में नया प्रयोग है ना.
धन्यवाद सर. Sir, lastly, many members mentioned it. Vishal Dada Patil, I don't know if he's here, he also mentioned health and wellness have to be a good focus. According to NHA data, sir, 2014-15 and 2021-22, government health expenditure as percentage of GDP rose from 1.13% to 1.84%. Government health expenditures share of overall government spending also increased from 3.94% to 6.12%. So between 2014 to 2022, per capita health spending tripled from 1,108 to 3,169 per capita expenditure, sir. You also are aware, Ayushman Bharat program, 55 crore beneficiaries are taking benefit out of it. There have been over 9 crore hospital admissions, resulting in 1.3 lakh crore worth of free treatments. More than 16,000 Jan Aushadhi Kendras now present in almost all the districts of the country offer 50 to 90% cheaper medicines when compared to market rates. Mission Indradhanush has various phases. In it, 5.46 crore children and 1.32 pregnant women have benefited from the vaccinations against 12 diseases. This targeted initiative, sir, has contributed to a significant decline in the maternal mortality ratio from 130 per lakh live births in 2014-16 to 80 in 2020. So in the last 11 years, sir, the government has approved or established new aims across several states and set up many new medical colleges, including the first aims in the Northeast, located in Assam. MBBS seats have also increased to 1.18 lakh, and 74,000 PG seats have been added since 2014. So I think largely I have addressed all the issues raised by the honorable members, sir. I would appeal to all the members to kindly pass this.
कोई को बोलना है, 5 मिनट बाकी है, कोई क्लियरिफिकेशन तो नहीं चाहिए? हाँ, चलो।
माननीय अध्यक्ष महोदय, आपका आभारी हूं कि आपने मुझे अपनी बात रखने का अवसर दिया और पूरा सदन, पूरा भारत के प्रबुद्ध लोग चाहते हैं कि नशा मुक्त भारत बने। अभी माननीय मंत्री जी ने अपने भाषण में कहा कि तेलंगाना राज्य में जो तंबाकू की खेती करते थे लोग, उनको ये सुझाव दिया गया है कि तंबाकू खेती ना करके अन्य फसलों करें, उसमें मिर्च आदि बताया। तो मैं आपके माध्यम से चाहूँगा माननीय मंत्री जी से कि पूरे भारत के हर राज्य में जहाँ जहाँ लोग तंबाकू की खेती करते हैं, उनको भी वहाँ कौन सी फसल अच्छी हो सकती है, अगर उनको भी इसमें शामिल किया जाए तो ये बहुत अच्छा होगा।
कृषि मंत्री सुझाव देंगे।
नहीं, अभी माननीय मंत्री जी ने अपने भाषण में ये बात कही।
बस एक मिनट, संजय जायसवाल जी। 6 बज जाएगी जब तक।
मैं इस सेंट्रल एक्साइज अमेंडमेंट बिल के समर्थन में खड़ा हुआ हूँ। मैं बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद देता हूँ भारत सरकार को कि GST 2.0 लगा करके उन्होंने इतनी सारी सुविधाएं दी आम जनता को कि इस बार दीपावली 22 सितंबर को एक नए स्तर पर बनी। लेकिन साथ में जो ये सिगरेट, तंबाकू, इस तरह के जो नशा हैं, जिनको लगातार डिस्करेज करने का काम यह सरकार कर रही है। जैसे उन्होंने सिगरेट के पर जो कैंसर पीड़ित है उनकी तस्वीर दे के एक बहुत बड़ा क्रांतिकारी परिवर्तन किया। हम लोग जब युवा थे तो हर जगह सिगरेट की दुकानों पे भीड़ देखते थे, आज बिल्कुल देखने को नहीं मिलती है। उसी प्रकार यह जो सेंट्रल एक्साइज का अलग से फैसला है कि इस पर टैक्स बढ़ाया जाए और इसको महंगा किया जाए जिससे कि आम व्यक्ति उसके तरफ आकर्षित नहीं हो। यह बहुत ही बढ़िया सरकार का फैसला है और इसका मैं पूर्ण समर्थन करता हूँ। ये स्वास्थ्य में आयुष्मान भारत के लिए भी बहुत अच्छा रहेगा। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
डॉक्टर M.K. विष्णु प्रसाद।
Really appreciate the way our Honorable Finance Minister replied to the doubts that was raised by the members. During her reply, she was mentioning about IMF data, which was based on 2012, 2013, 11 and 12. I stand corrected. And based on that, the gradation was given like A, B, C, D. She was crystal clear. But I would like to know whether is it a part that data available from 2011-12, taken on 2011 and 12, that is taken by the central government? And if so, during this 12 years, was there any initiative by the central government to collect the data for the current situation, so that based on that we can give the gradation? Thank you.
जगदापाल जी, आप भी बोल लो। 4 घंटे सीट पे बैठे हो तो बोल लो। 4 घंटे यहाँ बैठे थे ना।
माननीय वित्त मंत्री जी को इस बात की बधाई दूंगा कि जो पूरा सदन इस बात के लिए चिंतित था, जो हमारे माननीय सदस्य प्रतिपक्ष के भी लोग कह रहे थे कि तंबाकू के नियंत्रण होना चाहिए या नशा मुक्त होना चाहिए, तो मैं कहना चाहता हूँ कि आज का ये बिल जो है, ये जो 2003 में अटल बिहारी वाजपेयी जी ने COTPA कानून जो लागू किया था, जो सिगरेट्स एंड अदर टोबैको प्रोडक्ट एक्ट 2003 में, आज उसी विरासत को आगे बढ़ाने का काम किया है। इसके लिए मैं माननीय फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर को बहुत बहुत बधाई देता हूँ। 2003 का मैं उदाहरण दे दूँ कि 2003 में जो अटल बिहारी वाजपेयी जी का इसी सदन में कानून पारित हुआ था, उसमें सार्वजनिक स्थानों में धूम्रपान पर प्रतिबंध पहली बार लगाया गया था, और जिसका फर्क पड़ा, नाबालिग को तंबाकू के बिक्री पर रोक लगाया गया, स्कूल कॉलेजों से 100 मीटर के भीतर बिक्री निषिद्ध किया गया, विज्ञापनों पर रोक था।
तो हो गया।
और आगे अगस्त ऋषि ने क्या कहा है, मैं वो भी बता दूं, अगस्त ऋषि का संदर्भ कि जो भारतीय शासन दर्शन है स्वास्थ्य सुरक्षा का, उसमें अगस्त ऋषि ने कहा था कि दर्शन में स्वास्थ्य, विज्ञान, समाज कल्याण इसके एकत्व के प्रतीक माने जाते हैं, और औषध विज्ञान, जड़ी बूटी और ये जो लगाए, ये सच नहीं है। मतलब सच आज क्लियर कर दिया माननीय वित्त मंत्री ने कि आज पहले ये सरकार है कि जो भी सभी राज्य के GST में मेंबर, फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर्स के मेंबर हैं, और आज तक जितने फैसले हुए हैं, मैं वित्त मंत्री को बधाई दूंगा कि GST ने सर्वसम्मत से किया है। ये अपने आप में एक बहुत बड़ी बात है, और आज ये फेडरल स्ट्रक्चर को मजबूत करेगा कि ये पैसा जो एक्साइज ड्यूटी लग रही है, ये पैसा राज्यों को जाएगा। इसके लिए मैं धन्यवाद देता हूँ।
सदन का समय इस विधेयक के प्रस्ताव को विचार तक बढ़ाया जाता है। माननीय वित्त मंत्री जी,
सिर्फ 2 विषय में क्लैरिफिकेशन देना चाहती हूँ सर। माननीय नीरज मौर्य जी विषय उठाया, जो मैंने सोचा मेरा जवाब में आ गया है, फिर भी मैं बोलना चाहती हूँ। सिर्फ तेलंगाना में नहीं किए, राष्ट्रीय कृषि विकास योजना जो क्रॉप डाइवर्सिफिकेशन का प्रोग्राम उठाते हैं, वो 10 राज्य में चलाते हैं, इंक्लूसिव ऑफ उत्तर प्रदेश। सो उन राज्यों में क्या फायदेमंद क्रॉप हो सकता है, वो अपने राज्य के लेवल पर निर्णय होके वो आगे लेके जा रहे हैं। जैसे मैंने ओडिशा के उदाहरण बोले, सब्जियों और ज्वार, कर्नाटका सोयाबीन और शुगर केन, उत्तर प्रदेश उनके स्तर पर जो भी निर्णय करते हैं, उनके तंबाकू किसानों के साथ बात करके वो उसके अनुसार वो चलाते हैं। Sir, this question was raised, saying data, since it's based on 2011-12, was any initiative taken on it? I just want to highlight, sir, rebasing initiative has been taken. Rebasing matlab, that which was earlier, 11 and 12, 2011-12 is the base year now, to rebase it to some other year, which is now 22-23. The efforts have already commenced last 2 years, 1.5 years. And it is at an advanced stage. That is why I said it is planned to launch the new series with the base year of 22-23 from 27th February 2026. And for the implementation, sir, the rebasing project includes the collection of key data sources using surveys and studies, methodological improvements, and also the assessment of additional data sources. Various expert committees were formed, one for new data source, rate and ratios, methodological improvements, constant price estimates, and regional accounts are independently, independent committees, expert committees are looking into these aspects in specific. And above all, a discussion paper regarding proposed changes has been put in the public domain for comments as well. All this has been done. And therefore, it is a structured process through which rebasing happens.
1 मिनट। सभी दल के लोगों को पर्याप्त समय, पर्याप्त अवसर आज मिला है, और मुझे नहीं लगता कि कोई माननीय सदस्य जो इस विषय पे बोलना चाहता उसको मौका नहीं मिला। और इसीलिए मैं आग्रह करता रहता हूं कि सदन चलता है तो विधेयकों पर, मुद्दों पर सबके विचार आते हैं, सबके मत आते हैं। इसलिए हमेशा आग्रह करता हूं कि सदन चले, सदन में चर्चा हो और सबने सदन चलाने में सहयोग किया, सबको धन्यवाद। अब विधेयक पर विचार हेतु प्रस्ताव लाते हैं। प्रश्न ये है कि विधेयक पर विचार किया जाए। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में, हाँ वालों के पक्ष में विधेयक पर विचार करने हेतु प्रस्ताव स्वीकृत किया गया। अब सभा